to kill. The breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. New memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the place. I'm talking one art, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go! Yeah, it's one art, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go!
Hi, Ramita.
Hi, George. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
How's everything going? How's your business going?
Business is doing great. Getting a lot of referrals, as always, and giving some out.
That is
it's
very
really
good.
Great.
So how do you think the meeting went last week with Ryan? It went pretty well, I think. It was great. It's definitely going to be great.
Yeah, it was really great. It was, it was really awesome. I really enjoyed touring the library residents and getting a tour from Sean. I mean, they did an amazing job kind of maintaining that sense of historic building, but also adding these really nice modern touches. It was a really good mix of modern and historic.
I agree 100%. It was actually great meeting Sean in person and Katie too. You know, we always see them over Zoom and phone calls and text, but to actually see them in person was, you know, that in-person feeling is always the best.
Absolutely. I mean, you're creating a bond, you know, and that bond, you know, transfers into a relationship and a friendship and a business relationship. So it's really nice to meet people in person. I think it's a great way to sustain that relationship.
I agree 100%. There's nothing better than, it's like what I say, we always have to have a great relationship with other agents, even if, you know, we're in different brokerages, because you never know when you're gonna do business together, and then, you know, if you don't like this person, he doesn't like you, you guys got bad blood, it's gonna be a bad transaction. So that's my rule basically in the office to everybody. It's like become, you know, business partners.
Absolutely. It makes it more authentic, you know, like that in person. Even if sometimes if you start with a phone call, you know, that's the start. You know what I mean? That's how you and I met, you know. It's like with a phone call, then we met in person, and now we're business partners. We're hosting a huge summit. So it's like I feel like those in-person relationships are always gonna take a more priority to build on.
I agree 100%.
All right, well, I'm gonna go back to work. I got some calls to return, but I will talk to you soon, George. It was so great to hear from you.
All right, likewise. I will talk to you later on. Have a good day.
Hey, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. So that was Ramita, my business partner for Remote Platform and the co-executive producer of Multiple Offer Broker, where we were speaking on when we went to visit Ryan and met up with Sean McPeek from the McPeek team over Sirhan, and he gave us a great tour of the library residence. Actually, in which today's date, you know, today's September 21st, you know, they're at 65% sold out, which is amazing. It's one thing that Sean and Ryan and I were speaking about was how everybody thought the New York City market was going to crash and people were not going to go back due to COVID. And, you know, even though we do have COVID still going on, I see that the New York City market's still on fire, which is great for them. I love the fact to hear that, you know, and that's one thing that Sean and I were speaking is like how us agents have to work with each other and help each other out in business instead of, you know, bashing one another. We'll basically, you know, become a community together, and that's one thing that I see Ryan and Satellite Sirhan, the course, has done a lot, is basically put, you know, 8,000 different real estate professionals in one community and help each other out, which is, you know, amazing. So yeah, no, we were just talking about that and how the experience we had with, we actually met Katie Thurber too, who's also on the McPeek team, which Sean McPeek is the leader of, and she was also explaining her part as, you know, she does real estate full-time, but she also owns a yoga business, and it's amazing what she does and how she multitasks her time between both careers. And it's great to hear from, you know, different agents in different markets, and that's mostly why we went to New York City to film. So make sure you like our page, subscribe, and don't miss out, because this is season 1 and we're coming back even stronger for season 2. You'll be shocked who's gonna be in there. You guys are gonna love this one. So see you guys soon. Take care.
it's Emily. I am doing something super exciting today. I am going to be meeting with Josh Friedson, who is a loan officer, and we're gonna be going over all of the top questions that I get asked all the time from you guys. So he is almost here, and we will get things going and see what he has to say. Let's go. This is Josh.
Hi.
He is a loan officer, and he's gonna just talk to us a little bit about buying your first home. So Josh, do you wanna introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Josh Friedson with Guaranteed Rate Home Mortgage.
You know, I'm buying my own home right now, so I thought it would be super helpful to just chat with people about the lending process, what might be needed. So what do you think is important for a first-time home buyer when they're buying their first home?
Well, it starts out with a pre-qualification letter, which evolves into a pre-approval letter. So I always really try to convince my clients to get started with a pre-qual, which obviously is just, you know, getting online or, you know, taking an application, and then really backing that pre-qualification up with a fully underwritten, what we call a pre-approval.
Cool. So you talked a little bit about it, but can you explain the difference between the pre-approval and the pre-qualification?
Sure.
And why one might be better than the other?
Sure. The pre-qual is almost not worth the paper it's written on, because you could tell me I make X amount of dollars and I have this much assets, but that's the pre-qual. The pre-approval is then you prove it. And not only do you prove it to me and to your real estate agent, but most importantly, in the end, it's the seller. Your offer will be a lot stronger to the seller if you've gone through the whole process of underwriting. And it's free of charge. It's just the only cost of the pre-approval is the time it takes you to put into getting me those documents.
Top tips for first-time home buyers when trying to get a loan?
Well, first-time home buyers, I mean, start saving early. I mean, obviously, it's an obvious thing. Everyone says it's a lot of times easier said than done. But if you have a goal of buying something and you really want it to happen, it makes it more tangible. So if you save, it's a lot easier to save a little bit each month than a lot when you want that. So if you start saving a little bit, that adds up, believe it or not.
Okay, and you know, the other question I get all the time from first-time home buyers is, do I need 20% down to buy my first home?
Absolutely not. And I tell a lot of people, like, and I'm not a gunslinger, but like when you can afford, my grandfather told me this actually, and I bought my first house when I was 26 in Manhattan.
That's amazing.
A condo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The point is like, he said, I don't care if rates are high or low, the market's good or bad. When you can afford to buy your home, you do it. The reason, and to answer your question, you can do as little as 3.5% down. My preference is 5% down. But the point is the sooner that you can buy your first home, the sooner you can get to where you want to be in your next home or your final home.
Right, so. Absolutely. So we have a couple more questions, Josh, that we wanted to ask you. So the number one question I'm also getting right now is about the market and why a buyer should take advantage of it as we speak.
Well, there's a reason why it's a seller's market right now. And we as buyers hate that it's a seller's market, but the fact remains is that interest rates are so attractive, it's just bringing so many people into the market to buy. And right now, the savings that you'll make if you look at it mathematically, and I would like to do that with clients, if you're in this house 5 or 10 years, how much would you have saved at a rate of 2.875 versus 3.5 or 3.75? Mathematically, it's very attractive, and that's, the market speaks to you.
Right, okay, totally. Well, you know, I have one more question, but I would love to do it outside because it's such a nice day. So Josh, the last question I have is, when it comes to the market right now, as you see it, is it advantageous for a first-time home buyer in DC?
Well, the answer is, it's always, the sooner that you can buy a house when you're young, the better. It's almost like you're renting it. You're not going to keep it forever unless you end up renting it out. The fact remains is, you're going to get on that boat sooner than later. You're going to buy that house, sell it, buy the next house. But if you wait 1 or 2 more years when you can save up for that 20% down that
Right.
everyone wants. Whatever you're looking for in a home are going to be a lot lower at a lower level than if you got into the market sooner than later.
Totally. Okay, so I think that you answered a lot of the questions I get all the time, which, I think as a first-time home buyer myself speaking, it's been such an interesting experience. Obviously, I work in real estate, but also coming from the perspective of saving money and having enough to do so, and factoring in the seller credit. So I think all of these are really good opportunities for our buyers out there. And so with that, I hope that they feel empowered to know that they can do this too.
Yeah, and I think this is great that we're doing this and getting the word out and seeing and letting people know that we're here to help, and we'll be here to help throughout the whole process.
Absolutely. All right, guys, now let's go close on my property.